Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome back to my channel, my lovelies. If you've never been here before, thank you so much for clicking on my video. I am so happy you found me. I do so hope that you will like and subscribe before you leave. Become part of the Mama family. Mama's got your back, at least where makeup's concerned, and definitely when that makeup is cheap. Today is True Love Tuesday. I am here to tell you an absolutely epic love story. We're going to do a little bit of makeup and basically just hang out for a little while. Today's video is going to be just a little bit longer than the last couple of videos that I've done. So I hope that you guys have just a little while to sit back and relax with me. We're talking about Jackie and Rachel Robinson today. And really just remarkable people, very strong people. And as I was going through my list of people to possibly talk about, they just kind of jumped out at me for this week. So that's what we're going to do. I already have my eye look done, but I did do a TikTok on today's look if you are interested. I used the Morphe Making Bank palette. Actually, Sean picked this palette out for me today. He was like, Mom, I want you to use this palette. And he chose the shades for me to use. As always, I'll have everything listed in the description box, everything that I'm going to use for today's look. And if you have any questions, all you got to do is shoot me a comment and I will get back to you. The TikTok, all of the tags and all that good stuff will be in the description box as well. I went for very green and gold. I wanted something super strong and kind of bold and moody and dark on the eyes. And for my base, I think I want to go kind of like light and luminous. I want to contrast between the very dark, moody eyes and have really beautiful, light, luminous skin. I think it's going to be very, very pretty. So we're just going to go ahead and dive right into it. Guys, please get yourself a snack. Get a big old cup of hot coffee, a glass of sweet tea, and let's listen to a beautiful love story. So, Jackie and Rachel Robinson. Now, if you don't know who Jackie Robinson is, absolutely amazing person, a pioneer, truly, in every sense of the word. He broke the color line when it came to professional baseball. Really fantastic person. Beautifully real as well. Just a very honest, very simple man, very hardworking. And Rachel was very much the same. I have so much respect for both of them as people. They just really were not afraid of adversity. They were not afraid to face a challenge head on and conquer it no matter what. And I think we're going to learn quite a bit with today's story. So Rachel Annetta Ism, Rachel is Jackie's wife. Rachel Annetta Ism was born July 19th, 1922 in South LA. And she was born to Charles and Zell. Now, Charles was a disabled veteran and Zell was a hard worker. Rachel's mom was a very, very hard worker. She had her own catering business and was an absolute amazing cook. And from the time Rachel was 10 years old, she helped her mother in, cooking in the kitchen, things like that, helping her with her business. They had an incredibly moral, very Christian household, and Rachel grew up with those very black and white, right and wrong kind of beliefs. And she just had a very strong moral compass. And not only did she have an incredibly strong moral compass, but she was also incredibly determined to be successful. She had an amazing work ethic. And that, in a large part, is due to the fact that her parents were just really upstanding, great kind of people. Like I said, from the age of 10, she worked for her mother while studying hard and taking care of her father. In the fall of 1940, she entered UCLA determined to get a nursing degree. Yeah, determined to finish a 5-year nursing course. And then, all of a sudden, one day while she's hanging out at Kirchhoff Hall, Jackie Robinson, football star, senior, and basically big man on campus, saunters in, and her life is never the same. Now, when it comes to Jackie's backstory is very different from Rachel's. Jackie came from a broken home. So Jack Roosevelt Robinson was born January 31st, 1919, just outside of Cairo, Georgia. He was born to He was born the youngest of Jerry and Mally Robinson's 5 children. Jackie's father was a sharecropper. He was not an educated man. And what ended up happening is around the time Jackie turned 2, the father just kind of packed his bags and walked out, leaving his mother to raise 5 children on her own, which she did and did well. But because she was now on her own, they ended up having to pick up and move, and they moved to Pasadena, California, to be just a little bit closer to family. And this, I believe, is where Jackie really found the determination to succeed. After watching his mother work so hard to take care of him and his family, he just really decided that he was going to make something of himself and really set out to do that. So his older brothers encouraged him to pursue athletics. He was just a very naturally gifted athlete. He was gifted not only in baseball, but football and basketball, pretty much everything, track. He just was really great at sports, just a beautifully athletic, very talented man. And his older brother, Mac, had won a silver medal in the 1936 Summer Olympics for the 200 meter. So Jackie kind of took their advice and was like, okay, you know what? I'm good at it. Let's just pursue it. Let's go for it. And that's what he does. Jackie took their advice and stood out both in football, basketball, track, and baseball at John Muir High School, then at Pasadena Junior College. After his older brother Frank died in a motorcycle accident, Jackie ended up transferring to UCLA to be closer to Frank's family and kind of help just a little bit. And this is where life really kind of begins for him. Well, this is where life for Jackie and Rachel begins. So that day in what was it called? Kirchhoff Hall, when Jackie kind of sauntered in and Rachel was like, ooh, I like. She was very, very shy. She was a very shy lady and wasn't necessarily just going to go up to him and be like, yeah, you know, here's my number, call me, right? She's not going to do that. So what does she do? She does just about the classiest thing I've ever heard. And she finds out where Jackie parks his car. And this is so super smart. She finds out where he parks his car and she decides that she's going to park next to this man and just kind of wait for him to notice her, which in all honesty doesn't take very long. And pretty soon Jackie is bugging all of his friends, trying to find out who the very pretty shy freshman is, and trying to get at her. Now his friend finally is aggravated and is like, fine, I'll introduce you. And he ends up introducing Jackie to Rachel and they instantly hit it off. And eventually the friend introduced them. Jackie often wore a bright t-shirt to school, a bright white t-shirt. And this was one of those things where, again, his character is showing, because at this point, segregation, racism, things like that is a very, very big deal. It's a very, very big problem. And, a lot of times they're just not wanting to pull attention to their skin color, right? And especially because Jackie was such a dark man, you wouldn't necessarily wear bright white clothes to call attention to how dark you are. But I found this quote and I think it's absolutely beautiful. She said, he wore his color with such dignity and pride and confidence that after a little while, I didn't even think about why he wore the bright white shirt. He was never ever ashamed of his color, she later said. And I think being in a time where basically African American people were taught to be ashamed of their color, to be ashamed of who they were, he embraced himself with open arms and an open heart and just kind of like, this is who I am. I love who I am. And I think it was a really, really beautiful thing. So after a while, they're dating, they're loving, they're kind of hanging out. And Rachel decides that it's time for Jackie to meet the family. And of course, her military father isn't going to like anybody, right? He did not like anybody who possibly might take away his little girl. But when Rachel brings Jackie home, her mother falls instantly in love with Jackie, instantly recognizes that this is a good man. And she said to meet her family. Father didn't like him, of course, but her mother, though, welcomed this young man who went to church, didn't drink or smoke, and didn't have multiple girlfriends, with open arms. And in turn, Jackie's family really embraced Rachel as well. So, and I think that's one of the biggest hurdles, right? If you can get the in-laws to like you, you're pretty much in there. I never was able to succeed at that, but it's okay. You know, I think it's a little bit different when there's only one boy, but I think since there were 5 boys, I think it might have been just a little bit easier for Miss Rachel to kind of get her foot in the door. That's not me being jealous at all. So they are really well liked by both of their in-laws' families. And Jackie made things official a little bit later after taking Rachel to a homecoming dance. And again, like I said, segregation and things like that was a really, really big thing right now during this time, and he decided to take Rachel to the Biltmore. He took Rachel to a homecoming dance at the Los Angeles Biltmore, and she recalled it as being incredibly uncomfortable, partly because they were Black, partly because they were unfamiliar with each other, and partly because Jackie just wasn't a very good dancer at all. And that made me giggle so much. I thought it was funny. He's trying to kind of sweep her off her feet, and he's just not very good at it at all. But he ends up asking her out. They make it official. They're going steady, and they basically start to build their lives together at this point. And when he took her home after the dance, he pecked her on the cheek, and she remembers thinking that she wished he had done, had given at least a real kiss. But she definitely got more than just a kiss. Just a little while later, he actually ended up proposing to her. They ended up getting engaged. He ended up getting her an engagement ring. But Rachel was determined. Like I said, she had an incredible work ethic. She was determined to finish school before she got married. She was determined to make sure that she could do it on her own. She didn't want to depend on a man for survival. And I think also when it came to Jackie, his job prospects were not the absolute best. And he was of the firm belief that a degree did not help with a Black man's career, and just school wasn't a big priority to him. And so his job prospects were not like abounding, right? And of course, as any sane woman would be, she was very worried about how they were going to live, about what their quality of life would be. And I believe her father, being the good man that he was, set her up to really expect a man to do his job, and to take his duty to his wife and children seriously. And I feel like at this point, she needed Jackie to prove to her that he was able to do that he was able to step up to the plate and take care of her, and support her. It's not like she just wants to be fed, hand to mouth, whatever. She doesn't just want to sit there and be lazy, but she doesn't want to be with somebody who's lazy either. Completely understand. So she ended up getting much more than a kiss. They got engaged. No job prospects. Unfortunately, professional athletics were closed to Jackie at that time. And like I said, he didn't believe a college degree would help a Black man's career. So when a position opened up as assistant athletic director with the National Youth Administration, he dropped out from UCLA in his last semester, and took it. He then went on to play semi-professional football in Hawaii until he received a draft notice from the United States military. And at this point, you're not allowed to ignore the draft. So he basically has to drop everything that he's doing and go join the Army. Now, when it came to Jackie's career in the Army, it was cut pretty short because, like I said, Jackie was an incredibly proud man. And racism was rampant in the United States military at that time. And when one day Jackie was trying to board a bus, and the bus driver told him basically to get to the back, something to that effect, and Jackie denied. He was like, no, I won't do it. He refused. And this ended up in Jackie being court-martialed and being actually arrested and taken to court for literally just not sitting in the back of the bus, just saying, I don't need to. Anyway, it's absolutely ridiculous. But he ended up being court-martialed, and they trumped up a bunch of charges for him, including public drunkenness. I can't talk today. Including public drunkenness, and just basically just a bunch of malarkey charges just to get him in trouble. Luckily, though, the military, the judge acquitted him of all the charges. All the charges were dropped. But he did end up getting, because he was court-martialed, he ended up not getting to see any kind of battle. He ended up not going to war, basically, and his military career just basically stalled out. So he ended up being honorably discharged from the military, and once again, he's kind of like, you know, he's back at square one. He doesn't have a job, he doesn't have any prospects, and isn't quite sure what to do. Now, at some point, he gets it in his brain that Rachel is going to join the army. And this is like a no-fly zone for him. This is like, no deal. She's not doing it. He was very uncomfortable with the fact that she would be surrounded by men and basically forbid her. He forbid her from joining, basically told her, you're not allowed to do this. And what did Miss Rachel do? Because she is a firecracker in and of her own, and will not be told what to do. So she, as an answer, she mails him back his engagement ring. So he's kicked out of the army, not kicked out of the army, but he no longer has a job. He no longer has a fiance, and he's feeling pretty low at this moment. He's not quite sure what to do with his life. He doesn't know where to go. He just basically bereft. So he goes back to Pasadena. He goes back home, and his mother very, very quickly tells him to suck it up. She says, get over yourself. She says, call Rachel and get your life figured out. And that's what he does. He immediately picks up the phone. He calls Rachel. They have a very long conversation. And the very second he gets off the phone with Rachel, he picks up the engagement ring and he heads up to San Francisco to go see her. And of course, they end up reconciling, and they are engaged again. And after being so San Francisco with the ring, he still didn't have much in the way of job prospects. So he started playing ball with the Kansas City Monarchs in the Negro League. Unfortunately, that meant filthy hotels, grueling bus trips, and no contract. And there was no security here, right? There was no long term there, right? Especially when you don't have a contract. It's basically you're living on the whim of someone else. And this was unacceptable to both Rachel and Jackie. This was not what they, had planned. And they instantly start looking for something better. There's got to be a better way. And by this time, Jackie knows that he wants to be a career athlete. He knows that this is what he's supposed to do. This is what he's good at. And he's trying to find a way to make this happen. But he's miserable. He's miserable playing for the Negro League, and he just doesn't want to do it anymore. And all of a sudden, it's like the clouds part and the Lord whispers, here's the answer to your prayers. So the historic 3-hour-long meeting between Jackie Robinson and Brooklyn Dodgers general manager Branch Rickey took place on August 28th, 1945 in Rickey's office. Now, Rickey is pretty much a pioneer when it comes to baseball. He really was searching for something new. He was searching for a way to make the game better. And he knew that a lot of that, the new age included having mixed race teams. You needed to like break the color line. There were so many incredibly talented athletes out there who just weren't getting their shot because their skin was the wrong color. And he just didn't believe that was right. And thankfully he ignored what everybody had to say about it, and basically pursued that. So Ricky had been scouting black players for the Dodgers, and when he saw Jackie was not only a college-educated military veteran, a churchgoer, and an outstanding ball player, he knew this was someone who could break the color line. Jackie, for his part, thought Ricky wanted to sign him to a fictional all-black team called the Brooklyn Brown Bombers. Now, Ricky had interviewed Jackie under the pretense of hiring him to this all-black team because, of course, mixed-race teams were unheard of, right? It just wasn't a thing. And, of course, Jackie wouldn't have come. He wouldn't have believed him if he said, I want you to play for the Dodgers. Jackie would have thought it was a joke, and none of this would have ever happened. So Ricky tells Jackie, we're creating a new team. It's going to be an all-black team, and I really want you to be our star. I really think you have what it takes to make a great ball player. And Ricky, again, used the Bombers as a pretense to find a black player for the Dodgers, someone just like Jackie Robinson. Ricky stunned Jackie by asking him to sign a contract with the Dodgers, but under one condition. And this is both smart and incredibly hard. He said he would have to passively accept the inevitable racist abuse for 2 years. He wanted somebody who was going to be able to show the world that the problem wasn't going to be able to be solved by fighting. He wanted somebody who could show the world that kindness wins sometimes, and sometimes you just need to shut up and just pay attention to the amazingness that's happening in front of you before you know what I mean? And Jackie was like, are you looking for someone who is afraid to fight back? And Ricky said, I want a ball player with guts enough not to fight back. And I agree with that. A lot of times it's harder to just kind of bite your tongue and say nothing than it is to kind of clap back real quick. And Jackie thought about this for a minute, and eventually he agrees to sign the contract, and he agrees to Ricky's terms. Thankfully, this is one of the best and hardest things that he ever did. So he signs the contract, and Ricky asked if Jackie had a woman in his life. And when Jackie said he did, Ricky told him, good, you'll need her. Then Jackie went home to California, where he and Rachel very promptly began planning their wedding. And of course, at this moment, they're not married yet. And they know basically that Rachel is going to have to go with him to spring training, things like that. And they're not going to be able to live together if they're not married. So they very quickly get married. They plan their wedding. And then 18 days after they got married, Jackie went to work as an infielder for the Montreal Royals. The Montreal Royals were the Dodgers' AAA farm team. And it was Jackie and Rachel Robinson against the world. They couldn't stay at the team hotels. They couldn't eat in the same restaurants that the team did because everything is still so ridiculously segregated. It's ridiculous. And this makes me so sad because I'm an interracial couple, I guess. My husband's Native American, right? And if we were living back then, there's no way that I would have ever been able to be with and meet and marry the love of my life. And that breaks my freaking heart. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't understand why someone would be so mean to somebody just because their skin is dark. We're not even going to get into it, but it's absolutely ridiculous. They couldn't eat at the same they couldn't stay at the same hotels. They couldn't eat at the same restaurants. It was absolutely redonkulous. And they suffered some of the worst abuse from not only their teammates, but from opposing players. And for 2 years, Jackie had to basically swallow his pride and just kind of take all of it. And you know, for such a proud man to have to sit there and just let people drag him through the mud must have been one of the most difficult things anyone's ever had to do for 2 entire years. And then constant degradation, constant race, just absolute abuse. Not okay. Rachel went to all of Jackie's games. She watched pitchers throw at his head. She watched infielders spit in his face and people taunt him from the dugout. She said, we moved to and from the ballpark almost as one. We shared the work, the feelings, the stress, and the irrationality of our seemingly defenseless position. And I think that's one of the hardest parts about it is knowing that you just have to sit there and you just have to take it. There's nothing you can do to make your situation better. There's nothing you can do to mend your pride at all. You just have to sit there and you have to let these people be as mean and rude, as hateful as they want to, and you can't do a freaking thing about it. Honestly, it makes me have so much respect for this man because, like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. There's no way. Even knowing that my career was on the line, even knowing that a completely groundbreaking, earth-shattering thing was in the process, I just don't know if I could have made myself bite my tongue for 2 entire years while people were just rude to me and absolutely horrible to me. I don't know many people, I don't know anyone even that could really have done that. And to think about the physical, emotional, and mental sacrifice that he made in order to just do something that he loved and in order to make a living is absolutely ridiculous. She said Jackie thought of them as a team. They agreed to treat their home as a haven and to leave their anger and frustration at the door. Sometimes when Jackie left the ballpark, he would be so angry that he just couldn't go home. There was no way for him to leave those super heavy emotions at the door, so he would go to the driving range. He would go hit golf balls until he was so exhausted and until he kind of burned out the last of his anger, and then he would go home to Rachel, and of course, you know, she would make everything better to the best of her ability. But the trauma from those 2 years was just absolutely massive, and it really took a toll on both of them for a very, very long time. Now, Jackie went on to become, he does it. He, bites his tongue for the 2 years. He ends up shattering the color line, and he ends up being the first black player on any national sports team, right? Absolutely shatters it. And then not only does he shatter the color line, but he goes on to be a World Series champion and a 6-time All-Star, and at the age of 38, retired from the game. And he retired from the game as an all-time great. Really was just one of the best ball players the world had ever seen. And he retired with enough life left to still enjoy the fruits of his labors. And of course, he could have sat back and he could have just enjoyed his very cushy life, enjoyed all of the money that he made, and just, lived his life. But instead of just living his life, he decided that he needed to give back. He needed to give back to the less fortunate. He needed to reach a hand down and help lift others up. So he went on in 1955, they built a house in the Connecticut suburb of Stamford, and then Jackie became deeply involved in the civil rights movement, and he was well acquainted with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and they hosted annual benefits to help raise money not only for the cause, but they helped raise money for the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Jackie also started Freedom National Bank in Harlem and a construction company to build low-income housing. So he really did never forget about where he came from. He never forgot who he was and where he started, and really tried to help as many people as he possibly could and elevate as many people's lives as he could. Rachel, again, didn't just sit back and get complacent. She went on to receive her master's in psychiatric nursing at New York University. She also worked in multiple mental health institutions and taught at the Yale School of Nursing. Jackie ended up there. One of their children ended up dying, got into a car accident, and I think about 6 or 8 months later, Jackie actually had a heart attack. He had been suffering with pretty bad diabetes at this time, and his health was ailing anyway, and he ended up dying on October 24th, 1972, and 2,500 people attended his funeral. Y'all, when I die, I'm hoping at least 10 people show up to my funeral. Could you imagine 2,500 people like grieving your loss. Can you imagine the impact on the world that you must have had for 2,500 people to show up and mourn the fact that you're gone? He really was an incredibly remarkable person, an incredibly remarkable man. Him and Rachel had a really beautiful, very strong love. It was able to weather racism and great. It's like I tell my husband all the time, together we are everything. Together everything is possible. And when you have that one person that you know is on your team no matter what, when you know that one person has got your back no matter, will walk through hell for you, it makes anything possible. It really makes you feel invincible. And I really feel like their lives were truly, truly, I mean, just incredible. Really just, I don't even know how to put it into words other than I just think they're really, really awesome. I really enjoyed researching today's story. I enjoyed learning about both Jackie and Rachel. I think the way that they got together was super, super cute. I think that they were incredibly beautiful. They had beautiful souls. I think they were incredibly beautiful people inside and out. And I think that the world is a much better place, definitely is a much better place for them having been here. Guys, as usual, I didn't finish my makeup, but I will finish it. I'll take pictures and I'll post them over on Instagram and Facebook. As always, everything will be listed in the description box below. Let me know if you have any requests or any suggestions about who I should talk about next week. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about that. As always, no filters, no edits, no fancy lighting. It's just me sitting in front of my camera telling you guys an epic love story, doing my makeup, hoping you guys are enjoying what I'm doing. Guys, as always, I'm completely and totally brain dead. It's 12:30 at night, so we're gonna end it there. But I love you so very much. I hope that you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. Please know that you are very, very loved. Until next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves. Don't forget to give this video a big old thumbs up. And remember, I love you so very much. You are so very important, and have a beautiful day. Bye.